Breaking down Sixers roster and questions still to answer with off-season dust settled, originally appeared on NBC Sports Philadelphia. Last summer's look at the Sixers depth chart was full of enormous asterisks. James Harden remained on the team, PJ Tucker was in line for another opening night start, and everything was subject to dramatic change. A year later, the Sixers have 13 players under contract and an agreement with Gershon Yabusele. Sixers president of basketball operations Daryl Morey said in July that the team planned to enter the season with one standard roster spot open below the 15-player maximum. There's no need to load any projection with caveats and contingencies. So, with day one of training camp scheduled for October, the one in the Bahamas, let's run through a tentative initial depth chart and highlight a few intriguing questions about the 2024-25 Sixers. Starters: Tyrese Maxey, Kelly Oubre Jr., Paul George, Caleb Martin, Joel Embiid. Three holdovers here from the Sixers playoff starting unit last year in Maxey, Oubre, and Embiid. Though Sixers head coach Nick Nurse loves Kyle Lowry's still effective resistance against larger players, Oubre, George, and Martin sure sounds like a versatile trio defensively. Bench guards Kyle Lowry, Eric Gordon, Reggie Jackson, Jared McCain, Jeff Doughton Jr., two-way contract. With 38-year-old Lowry, 35-year-old Gordon, and 34-year-old Jackson, the Sixers aren't short on second-unit guard experience. Whatever his precise role, Lowry should be helpful in acclimating new Sixers to Nurse's system. Bench wings and forwards: Gershon Yabusele, Ricky Council 4, KJ Martin, Justin Edwards, two-way contract, David Jones, two-way contract. Yabusele, Council, and Martin may very well compete internally for rotation minutes at training camp and during the preseason. Bench big men: Andre Drummond, Adam Boner, a rebound-hungry veteran, and a shot-blocking rookie behind Embiid. Where should the Sixers be strongest? Basketball's not solely about scoring, but we'll note that Maxey, Embiid, and George combined for 83.2 points per game in the 2023-24 season. The Sixers have tons of firepower and shouldn't worry much about their top offensive players tripping over each other as they head to their favorite spots. And given the near-automatic double teams that Embiid draws, George's catch-and-shoot credentials should be quite valuable. He made 43.5% of his 3.8 catch-and-shoot three-point attempts per game last season. Especially if Oubre maintains the defensive focus he brought at the end of last year, the Sixers' primary wings and forwards appear to be players who will generally work hard on both ends of the floor. As long as that's indeed the case, the Sixers shouldn't need to make radical repairs to their defensive habits come playoff time. Nurse emphasizes the possession game, and the Sixers still look capable of grading out well in several core areas. DeAnthony Melton and Paul Reed have gone elsewhere, but George has consistently been far above average at his position in steal rate, and Drummond is a historically excellent rebounder. That doesn't guarantee the Sixers will again be a top-5 team in both offensive and defensive turnover percentage, while also fixing their defensive rebounding woes, but severe drop-offs in the possession game would be surprising. How about potential weaknesses? Broadly speaking, 3 stars is better than 2. However, Embiid's injury history is extensive, and George is 34 years old. The Sixers know all about bad injury luck and need things to finally break their way in the playoffs. Maxey, Lowry, Gordon, Jackson, and McCain are all 6'3" or under. Those players have traits to compensate for their lack of height. Jackson's 7-foot wingspan, Lowry's strength and smarts, etc. But it might not always be easy to successfully switch 1 through 4 or 1 through 5 on defense. Drummond and Caleb Martin stand out as new role players who will be happy to hustle and fight for 50-50 balls. Still, the Sixers will miss Nicholas Batum's sensible, selfless game and entry passing brilliance. Sure, the Sixers' stars will usually run the show, but it's tough to truly replace Batum's calm grasp of just about every imaginable situation and his great chemistry with Embiid. What's the best way to approach power forward? On many nights, the Sixers should be perfectly fine if they opt against traditional power forward minutes. Guarding post-up after post-up isn't imperative these days, and none of Oubre George and Martin could be called terribly undersized. Oubre, 6'7" with 7'3" wingspan, 203 pounds. George, 6'8" with 6'11" wingspan, 220 pounds. Martin, 6'5" with 6'10" wingspan, 210 pounds.
Returning 23-year-olds Council and KJ Martin both welcome physical challenges. Martin has more NBA frontcourt reps, but the idea of Council defending fours and earning time as a second unit wing forward doesn't strike us as outlandish at all. If Yabusele carries over his Olympic form, this topic may not be complicated for the Sixers. Regardless, a 6'8", 270-pound player could be especially handy in certain matchups. For instance, opening night opponent Milwaukee plays 6'10", 250-pound Bobby Portis at both the 5 and the 4. The Sixers tried a tiny bit of the King Kong Godzilla duo, Drummond and Embiid, during the 2021-22 season. That would remain very outside of the box, but it's a theoretical option when the Sixers absolutely require a rebound, are facing a double big unit, or simply want to experiment. How will Sixers handle their draft picks? McCain is 20 years old and Bona is 21. Both were productive college players, but aspiring contenders at full strength don't tend to throw youngsters into major roles.
If he can gain respect and trust from Nurse, Bona has a clean path to minutes. Anytime Embiid or Drummond misses a game, he'd slide up to the Sixers' number 2 center. Of course, the Sixers can always send Bona down to the G League's Delaware Bluecoats to get some game reps. McCain should learn a lot just from watching and listening to teammates like Maxey and Lowry. The Duke product had a subpar shooting performance in Summer League, 28.6% from the floor, 25.5% from three-point range. But McCain will hope to show Nurse he's a high-caliber, quick-release marksman who can do good work both on and off the ball.